Good evening. Welcome to today's free live webinar on navigating the digital shields, understanding data protection laws in India and beyond, organized by Legal Vidya. My name is Yuvraj Sachdeva and I'll be your host for today's insightful session. To quick start today's webinar, let me share a bit about let me share a bit about who we are and what we stand for at Legal Vidya. Legal Vidya was established in 2021 with a mission to revolutionize legal education through the power of online learning. We are more than just an edtech platform. We are a community of passionate learners and legal professionals, from internships and workshops to webinars and comprehensive courses like the one you have joined today. We offer a wide range of opportunities to help you grow in the legal field. What makes us unique is our focus, also practical applications through real world case studies, discussions, and mentorships. In today's digital age, data privacy has become a fundamental concern. This free live webinar titled Navigating the Digital Shield, Understanding Data Protection Laws in India and Beyond aims to decode the complex legal landscape surrounding data protection. In this session, we will cover the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, comparative insights from global models like GDPR, key compliance requirements for organizations, legal remedies available for data breaches and misuse. Whether you are a law student, a working professional, or a simply curious learner, this session will equip you with crucial insights into your digital rights and responsibilities. We are honored to welcome our speaker today, Ms. Ritambra Kalra, and an accomplished attorney based in Delhi with an extensive practice in civil, criminal, and arbitration law. She currently serves as a panel lawyer with the Delhi Legal Service Authority (DLSA), appointed as a sole arbitrator by the Delhi High Court, empaneled with Punjab National Bank, advising on legal risk and compliance. Beyond litigation, Ms. Kalra is a strong advocate of social impact and legal awareness, having conducted post awareness program across hospitals and corporates, legal aid workshops in Tihar Jail, training for juvenile welfare officers on POXO, and juvenile justice law. Academically, she holds an LLM in corporate and finance law from Jindal Global Law School with keen interest in competition law and artificial intelligence. So, now a few housekeeping notes. This session is being recorded and the recording will be shared with all registrants afterward. Kindly keep your microphones muted and cameras off to avoid disruption. Please reserve your question for Q&A session at the end. Certificates will be provided to those who will fill feedback form. Without further delay, let's extend a warm virtual welcome to Ms. Ritambra Kalra. We are excited to gain valuable insights from your experience. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you for such a warm welcome. I am really excited to see such a turnout after such a, I'm sure everyone's at their day end and such a turnaround is really, I appreciate it. Also, I would appreciate if people can keep their mics off, but they can switch on their cameras. It will be nice to see some faces around. Anybody who's comfortable can do it. If not, we can move ahead, of course. So yeah, I am Ritambira Kalra, and I have been working with startups closely in Aj- Arijit Roy can we switch off their mics? Thank you. So I work closely with digital law and compliance and emerging tech for startups as well. But why for everyone who's present here? I would want to tell you it is important for everyone. It is not necessary you have to practice it, but we all use a lot of apps in our day-to-day lives. Everything is digital now, even courts, civil, commercial, everything has moved online. Now we also have e-copies there. So the law is getting more and more important day by day. And hence we have a very comprehensive law passed very recently, and the rules in the act was also passed in 2025, making it even a firmer legislation. Now, before we actually dive into the topic, I would like to know a bit about who's into the room. Like, anybody can switch on their mics and camera, just tell me who they are, what they do, such, because I can just get a sense of who's attending this session.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, good evening.
My name is Suraj Shandil, and I am basically from Himachal Pradesh, ma'am.
Okay.
Recently, ma'am, I passed out my master's in intellectual property rights. After that, ma'am, I am joining senior advocate in Chandigarh, ma'am.
Oh, that's good to hear. And what interested you in the topic?
Ma'am, basically, ma'am, it's related to the IPR, and mostly, ma'am, I deal with the civil cases, ma'am.
Understood. That's really nice. I'm glad you're here. And yes, of course, it involves everybody because we are all using a lot of apps every day. I'm sure we all are accepting
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
all
You are
the
right.
all accepting all cookies without even registering what it will
Yes,
be
ma'am.
used for. So yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, Devakar. Good.
Yeah, ma'am. Myself, Diwakar, ma'am. I'm from Sri Venkateshwara University, Tirupati, ma'am.
Okay.
Actually, I am participated in one moot court, ma'am. It is the topic about the right to privacy. It's known as famous case law as Puttaswamy versus Union of India.
Great. It all
Yeah,
started there for us.
yeah. With the
Hi, ma'am.
inspiration, I did some research on the right to privacy, ma'am. I am doing some articles about the right to privacy. Is this webinar will be helpful for my research article? That's why I am joined in this webinar, ma'am.
Oh, great. I'm sure if it helps you, the session helps you a little bit, I will be happy. So
Good
I think
evening, ma'am.
basically all are law students here. Yeah. Hi, Jashanpreet.
My
Hi, ma'am.
name is Jashanpreet and I am doing DLL. It's my second year.
Hi. So what
Hi,
interests
ma'am.
you in your topic?
It's optional.
So I've gotten a sense all our students or people have just passed out of their law session. So yeah, I think it's a great, we should just start dive into the lecture. Now, I'm sure we all remember a time, like at least when I was in school, I did not have mobile phones with us. But now, internet and phones are not just luxuries; it's a necessity. It's part of our daily lives. I am also attending courts. Courts in Delhi are through virtual hearings. We also can attend courts through virtual hearing now. And especially after the COVID, I'm sure like children as small as I'm like in first grade or second grade, they were also attending sessions online. So I'm sure you get a sense how important it is to know how our data is being used, what actually happens with the data, since we spend most of our lives online. Now, before we actually begin, I would like to give you a few statistics. Over 55% of the Indians, which is about 800 million people, are online today. And I'm sure everyone will be surprised to know that rural India has more users, or phone users basically, than urban India. And can anybody guess what is the age group you think is using the mobile phones the most? You can just put it in the comments. Who do you think is using, which age group do you think is using the phones most? Yeah, so everybody.
20 to 30.
Teenage. No, it's actually 20 to 19. So we are sharing most of our lives online. Now, everything, our Aadhaar, bank detail, passwords, when we click onto some app, do you know what data they save from that? Has anybody read when they say accepting all cookies? Like what data are they taking from us? Has anybody gotten a chance to see what was the data about? What were they asking permissions for?
Yes, ma'am.
They are correct locations. Everybody, please answer in the chat box. It will be great to have engagement. I'm sure it's a very interesting topic. So yeah, they ask for passwords, locations. What is your favorite? Like, I don't know, food, random things they ask to understand how we think. Has anybody experienced when we fill a form, say of insurance, we are looking for some kind of insurance, we get targeted ads of a lot of insurance. We get telemarketers calling us, Ki, sir, do you want this? Do you want this insurance? Ma'am, do you want this? Has anybody experienced this? Why do you think this happens? Whenever this
Yes, ma'am,
happens,
actually,
you should know that our data was being sold. Now, before this act came into force, we actually could not do anything. But now with this act, it can really help us. Now we can take our grievances further and have a solution to it. Of course, everything is at very nascent stage. Whenever a lawyer who is practicing this data protection, they basically mean they're helping with the compliances. The law will eventually come into being. There will be judgments on this part eventually. So, like I said, we have all our likes online. They're taking a lot of information for us. Has anybody? Can anybody tell me of any scandal where the data was leaked? Any scandal they know it? I'm sure it was in news very recently as well.
very recently, 16 billion passwords were leaked online.
Okay.
Actually, boat company also has sold or by mistake. I think I don't know what was actually, but data was leaked.
Right.
From the
Somebody
boat
also
company.
said, yeah, Meta has also done it. Has anybody heard of Cambridge Analytica? It was a 28th scandal. Yeah, somebody saying deepfakes, correct. That also happens a lot, especially these days. So yeah, Cambridge Analytica was a case that came into light in 2018. I will just refer to Cambridge Analytica as CA. This company CA was found that they were harvesting personal data from the Facebook, and they were used for manipulating voting behavior in the US. Do you remember in 2018 when 2018 when Donald Trump came, 2017 I think, which was the year, I don't remember it properly, but yeah, I think it was 2018 when during the Donald Trump elections, what happened was, now the owner of CA, who was Robert Mercer, was a donor of Republican Party. I'm sure everybody knows here that Donald Trump also is part of the Republican Party. Now, what they did was they gave money to some professor to develop an app that extracts human behavior, what they like and what they did not like. And they eventually sold the data. Now, once you sell the data, the people can analyze your patterns and tell, like, from what kind of things that affects you the most. There are some people for whom somebody who is manufacturing things. Now, Donald Trump is very heavy on like everything should be made in US. So they were showed targeted ads for manufacturing purposes. So when your data is sold, you know whom to target, and basically what is your concern that I can lure you with. And that is how somebody comes into the power. So it was told they stole 5 crore people voter data. Now, I'm sure, do you remember there was also a time when TikTok was also banned with other 59 Chinese company Indian government did a few years back? That was also because of the same thing. It was said that they were leaking our data to the Chinese company so that they know they can manipulate our behavior and everything. Now, I think the biggest scandal was Aadhaar data leak, which was in 2018 again. A journalist reported that you can buy people's data for as less as 500 rupees. And the data, when I say data, I mean my name, it can be my phone number, it can be my address, what I like, what I dislike. So basically, every Indian citizen was at risk if such kind of data is ever leaked again. And also, I'm sure there was a controversy about during the COVID time as well. ICMR used to ask our name, address, locations when we were just jabbed by a vaccine. So people question, why do you need such data if you just want to give vaccines? So it was told that our data was leaked back then as well. It was said data of 81.5 crore Indians was leaked. Now, to give you a little perspective, when I say 81.5 crores, it means 10 times the population of Iran, Turkey, and Germany. And the latest being Zoomcar data breach, it is as recent as 2025. In this also, data of 800 million users were leaked. Their Zoomcar, I'm sure everybody knows, it's a app. It's a app where people can share their rides when they're not using the car. Somebody has raised their hand. If there are any questions, I would like to take it in the end, if that's okay. So yeah, just a second. Now, how the Data Privacy Act came into being. I'm sure everybody is well aware of Puttaswamy judgment, but I would also like to bring to the notice for everyone here. It was back in 2011, AP Shah committee was also formed, which also talked about that there should be an act which talks about data privacy, which talks about how our data is stored. The data should be localized, but nothing came into being. It was in 2017. This Puttaswamy judgment. Do you know this Puttaswamy is a justice, is a retired judge of Karnataka High Court. He filed a writ petition at the age of 91 to challenge something that was affecting every one of us here. It was the Aadhaar system. He said that he was just a retired judge. He was not a politician, not a public figure, just a concerned citizen, like all of us here. He questioned the government. Does the government have the right to collect the personal data of the individuals? Now, what personal data were they collecting? They always ask for our names, our parentage, our addresses, and they also ask for our fingerprints and iris scans. I'm sure everybody knows that because all of us have gone through the same process. Now, he was concerned because the Aadhaar Act came in back in 2009. They made Aadhaar compulsory for everything. Justice Puttaswamy went ahead and said, we can't have government take all our personal information unless there is an act that protects the information. The individuals are made sure that our data will not be leaked. Now, I'm sure now it's a very controversial thing that government can leak data or not leak data. It's a very controversial thing. So, but sometimes what happens is the government agencies are hacked as well. So we need to have a very proper system where we are made sure that our data will not be leaked. And the government have proper processes where how the data will be stored. Now, when we say digital data, can anybody tell me like what they mean by digital data? Like, is the data stored physically also, or when we say digital, it's all in the air? I would love to see some comment on this part. Yeah, there's Google data, correct? I'm sure everyone right. Somebody said server, the others thing, correct? There's servers as well. I'm sure everyone has heard of AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, and then there's cloud system. Now they all store data, and they're physical servers. Some servers are in India as well, in Mumbai, Hyderabad. There are servers in India as well. So when we say digital data, we need a physical space to even store that kind of data. Yeah, so now when I say digital data, I just want you to understand that digital data is stored physically. So we need proper systems in place so that before the government can actually save our data. Now with the Puttaswamy judgment, they said that there is a right to privacy. Earlier, before this judgment, it was not clear, like whether the right to privacy was part of a fundamental right or not. But with this judgment, it was said that it is a fundamental right, and that is why it is said to be a watershed judgment. When I say watershed, it basically means it changed the course for the laws which were going to come in the future, the precedents with which the court will decide. So it was a watershed judgment which says privacy is a fundamental right. It was decided by a 9-judge constitutional bench. Now, when I say this judgment came in 2017, was there no talks of privacy before 2017? No, it is not that. Like I said, in 2011, there was a AP Shah committee was formed, and also there were a lot of judgments, MP Shah, Kharak Singh, which said that right to privacy is not a fundamental right. But then there came another judgment, Raju versus Union of India, which said it is a fundamental right. So basically, there were very different views, and with this judgment, we settled the controversy. Now, I would like to read a very famous quote by Justice Chandrachud. He said, privacy is not just about being alone. It's about autonomy, dignity, and the freedom to make decisions about our own body, mind, and life. In the digital age, privacy is not a luxury, it's a basic right. He also rejected the earlier judgments, MP Sharma and Kharak Singh, which said right to privacy is not a fundamental right. Now, when we read through this judgment, I'm sure everybody questions like why this judgment is very important. And just concluding before what we discussed, first, it confirmed privacy is a fundamental right. Now, if any law or company violates our privacy, we can go and challenge it in the court. After this judgment, there was a BN Sri Krishna committee which was formed and which laid the foundation of the data protection law. And also the third part, what it impacted was the Aadhaar and other schemes. Like I said, when Aadhaar came back in 2009, the Aadhaar Act came, the government initially made it compulsory. There was a huge outcry from the public, from the citizens. And then it said it is not compulsory, but it was only limited to the welfare schemes. Now the government also had their the reason why government made Aadhaar compulsory because there are government give welfare schemes. Now we have seen, I'm sure, like a lot of people they take beneficial schemes even when they're not, even then when they are not needed, they're not actually someone who can actually take the schemes. So government thought Aadhaar was compulsory, but the act with the judgment, it said that government should only limit to the welfare using of Aadhaar for the welfare schemes. I'm just changing the screen, 1 second. Yeah. So for us, the basic digital act came in very recently. The rules came in 2025. We were talking about having this law from 2011. Now, I think we should go a little global and see what is the history of data protection rights there. How did it begin? So we will just rewind a little bit from the present scenario and go a little back. The first time Data Protection Act or any kind of data protection law was talked about was in 1970. It was for the first time when it was talked that we should have a law that should protect our data. it was in Germany. It was not even passed by the full country. It just passed by a state, Hesse. At that time, the governments and private companies were forming up, and they decided that it is time that we should store citizen data. It was just the time when computers started coming in, the technology was spreading. Technology, not technology, like computers, as basic as computers were coming into being for the first time. So everyone realized that there should be information, like their information should be handled responsibly and respectfully. Now, it was for the first time in 1970. Now, in 1981, the Council of Europe, through an international convention, came about the first legally binding international agreement for the protection of personal data. It gave structure to data protection across countries and said every person shall have the right to know who handles their data. When we save anything on the app, on the website, the citizen should know who handles their data and why are they taking that data, and why are they saving it, and where are they saving it, and how are they saving it. So I think we should all realize it is all our rights to know. It is within our rights to know where does our data go. Because I'm sure everybody realizes when we use Instagram, we get targeted ads. Why is that? It's all a dark pattern. I think we are all just victims of psychological manipulation as well, with the kind of ads we see. Yeah. So now I'm sure everybody has heard about the GDPR. It was the real game changer. GDPR came into being in 2018. It was the most legally sound act which was formed on the data protection, and it was passed by the European Union in 2018. Now, what does basically GDPR talk about? By the way, GDPR means General Data Protection Regulation. Now, this is the act on which our act is also based, because GDPR is the most comprehensive act, and it has, like, the world has been following it for quite a while. Now, when GDPR came, why was it thought that it is such a big deal? Because they clearly said that consent must be clear. When I say consent must be clear, I mean, when we go to a website, it asks for cookies. There should be no hidden checkboxes. They should clearly tell me that they will be saving my data. And I'm sure everyone has also seen that now we can also reject cookies. So if I don't want them to save my data, I have been given a right. Second thing is, what GDPR did was right to be forgotten. Now, what does that mean? See, with the digital age, whatever I do, whatever I did in the past, it is all available. Now, say I was convicted of a crime in the past. Now I've been acquitted later. I was not convicted, basically. The charges were framed against me, but I was convicted later. Now I have a right to be forgotten. I'm sure there was a case where somebody has Wikipedia to delete their history. You also have that now, which is right to be forgotten, which is very important with this day and age. And also, I think the most important thing they came up with was, like, anybody who's saving my data or doing anything with my data, we can hold them accountable now. Now, accountability, they made such heavy penalties. They made penalties up to 20 million pounds, which can be up to 4% of their global turnover if they're big companies. This is massive. Now, all the big companies like Google, Meta, Amazon, they had to completely rework how they work, how they collect data. It has also basically changed how the world looks at privacy now. after GDPR, like we had Sri Krishna committee formed in 2018 with they came up with the law with the bill first, which also was made into the law later, and we also have rules at the moment. Now our data protection is also heavily based on GDPR, but it is uh, tailored to our Indian needs. But GDPR does provide a strong base. So what does our act do differently, which GDPR basically is not doing? We offer a little bit flexibility. The government said, yes, you can save our data outside India. When I say data localization, it means in the act, in the data privacy universe, they all ask for data localization. Data localization means the data of the citizens should be stored in the country where I am based. But our government says, yes, you can save our data outside our country as well. But if it is related to some government related functions or our military things or our army related thing, it should be saved within India. I think it's a huge step. And with our act also, we have also come up with a separate Indian Data Protection Board for redressal. What this basically means is we now have a board. Now, if I have a grievance, I can go to the board, tell what is my grievance, and they will take it from there, basically. Now, like I said, GDPR is the golden standard. It's the gold standard around the world because it is the most comprehensive and most well researched. All other countries are just coming up. They're all at the nascent stages. Now, what makes GDPR so gold standard? When I say it's gold standard, I said it is the most comprehensive, and this is only law which is applicable on all the European Union. When I say European Union, it is about 27 countries in there. So there's one law that is applicable to 27 countries, which forms basically the EU. So what does it talks about the act? It says right to be informed. When I say right to be informed, it basically means where will my data go, for how much time it will be used, for how much time it will be stored, and why basically they're taking my data. Right to consent. I can, if I don't want them to save my data, I can just say you don't have my consent, so please don't save my data. Right to be forgotten, like we have talked about first. And like I've told you, they have heavy penalties from there. Now, after EU, US has also come up with their laws. Now, what is different? Why? Because when we say gold standard, is most of the thing that US does. But with GDPR, US is a little behind. And why I say that? Because they don't have one law that is applicable to the entire country. They have different data protection laws for different sectors. There's a HIPAA for health data. There's a COPA for a children's data. And for finance data, they have come up with a GLBA. But the most famous data protection law US has is called CCPA, which is California Consumer Privacy Act. It also talks about the same things. Where will data be? Basically, all the gist of all the laws is more or less same. Like where will our data go? The rights we have discussed basically is applicable to all the data protection laws. And also, China has also come up with a data protection law. China passed its China has PIPL, which is personal information protection law. They came up with this law in 2021, very similar to GDPR, but very different in the spirit. Actually, their basic focus is on national security, that all their data should be within the country. So it basically gives government wide access to data. Now, we have discussed the rights, what is covered in data protection laws, how it came into being, the history basically comes. Now we come back to India, our home country, and we have here DPDP Act, which is Digital Protection Data Protection Act. We came up with this act in 2023. This act is specifically tailored to the Indian needs. Now, the most when we will go through this act, there are few terms which will come about again and again. The first is data fiduciary. Now, when I say data fiduciary, it's basically a fancy term for anybody who is storing our data. It can be a bank, it can be an insurance company. Anybody who takes our data is basically data fiduciary. Fiduciary, somebody said, I'm not audible. Can someone please confirm?
Ma'am, you are audible.
Okay.
You're audible.
Great.
ma'am. Audible.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, data fiduciary. Fiduciary is basically, when we talk in English, basically when we say what is the meaning of fiduciary, it is someone who we can trust. So we are basically trusting somebody who is taking our data, storing our data. And like I said, we have also come up with a data protection board. Now, what does the board do? It will handle the complaints. When I have made a complaint against some, say, insurance company, they will listen to what I have to say. They will investigate, and then later they can also levy penalties. And we have discussed about what is data localization, correct? Data localization, I'm just telling you the few terms. When you go through the act, you will read a lot. First, we have discussed data fiduciary. Second is the board we have discussed. We also have board under the act. Now, data localization. It basically means data should be stored within the country. And it should not be sent outside unless it is allowed. But the government doesn't say basically that all data should be stored in India. It says only which affects the Indian sovereignty, which is the army related things or anything which is related to the country. Such data should not go out. So basically, India is taking the middle path. One moment, please. Now we have discussed a lot, basically, like what happens to what are the rights, what is the history. Now, I think we should really come to what is the scope of this law. When I say data, what does it cover? What does it cover? So it says the act basically applies to all digital personal data. Now, when I say digital personal data, what does that mean? Any data that can identify me. It can be my name, it can be my phone number, it can be my Aadhaar details, it can be my bank details, it can be my location, my medical information. So any data which is related to this, which can identify me as a person, it applies to such data. Somebody is asking it applies to oral data. No. If the oral data was actually digitized later and saved somewhere, then this act applies. So such data can either be collected online directly, and some data which is also collected offline. When I say offline, I'm sure everybody knows when census happens, people come to our houses and they collect information. So when they have, until and unless they have, till the point they have information in the physical form, this act will not apply. But later, such information is put into a computer, it is digitized, it is stored. Then such information comes in the purview of this act. It also means you can understand it is as simple as when a school collects a child's details on a paper form and it is later uploaded to a computer and digitized. This act will also apply to them. And also, there's this one more word when you will go through the act, which is data. Now, who's a data principal? Basically, anybody whose data we are talking about. It is you. It can be me. Like anybody whose data is being collected. Now I would like to just tell you like what are the rights under this. We have discussed this. It is right to consent. Like I said, when we go to websites, we can accept or reject cookies. Right to know what data is being collected, why it's being used, and how long will it be stored, and who is it being shared with later. When I say how long it will be stored, because I don't think we know. Whenever we leave the app, our data is still with them. But now with this act, we can tell them to delete our data. And also there's this another right, which is right to correction. Say for some, we've entered our birth date wrong. We can also go back to them and ask to correct what we mentioned it earlier.
गौरव जी टाइम मिल नहीं पाया, मैंने आज दे दिया बनने के लिए, कल
And next is right to deletion. If we think data is no longer needed, we can withdraw our consent or ask them to delete our data. Now, there's a very special protection for children here. I think it is one of the most important parts of the act, but I'm not like, we'll have to see how it actually works. Whenever we go onto Facebook or Instagram, they ask for age verification. So earlier, what happened was I can just say I am 18. But if a parent now does not want their children to be on the website or the app or anywhere, they can actually not have the child there. Now the act asks for verifiable parental consent. Now, what does the verifiable parental consent? It means basically any government issued identity to confirm that the parent gives permission to the child to be on the platform. Now, there's an exception where this rule does not apply. It does not apply to schools, hospitals, daycare centers. They do not need consent of the parents. Now, like, I'm sure we can also understand why this exception exists. Because when a child goes to the hospital, then there is some urgency and the doctor wants to collect their medical history, what kind of blood group they have. They can't wait for the parental consent. It is allowed there. And also say when a child is being admitted to the school, like if they have access to the previous academic records, they don't need parental consent for uploading the data online, but they will need a consent when they are selling, even if they're not selling the data, when they are transferring the information to some third party. In such cases, in medical institutions, in academics, no parental consent is needed, basically. So we have discussed some basic terms, which is data fiduciary. We have also discussed data localization. We have also discussed the board. We have discussed the rights. And yeah, I will also like to tell you about when we say data fiduciary, there is another term which is significant data fiduciary. Now, who are significant data fiduciaries? Significant basically means something of very big importance. So any company that handles large amount of data or say sensitive information like biometrics. So now the companies like Google, Meta, IRCTC, insurance companies, they actually handle large volumes of data. So they are significant data fiduciaries. So these companies now will have to appoint a data protection officer. A data protection officer will be someone who lives in India. He will be basically like a company's privacy manager, and you can reach out to them directly if you have a complaint. So now I'm sure you know a lot of colleges are also coming with the data protection courses. And if you take those courses, you could also become a data protection officer in such companies. Now that's a new field that has opened up, which was not before. Now, I would just like to tell you, if you have a grievance, like I said, we have to go to the board. The board is Data Protection Board of India. I will just take a little more time to explain how do you go to them and what rights do they have and what powers do they have. Right. We have understood our rights under DPDP. So yeah, the board. If we have a grievance, the board is basically like a police or data watchdog. What they do is basically they hear the complaints, they investigate the companies and conduct hearings. They can also put heavy fines, which can go up to 250 crores in some cases. They're not courts basically, but they do have powers of court. So when I say they do have power of court, it basically means it can summon the companies. It can, yeah. Now, if they can summon, they can investigate, and then they can fine them. And the fines are huge. Like I said, it can go up to 250 crores as well. So this body is basically, like I said, it's not a court, but it's a quasi-judicial authority, which is solely formed under the Act. You can think of it as a mini court that only looks at data protection issues. I think I would just like to open the floor now, because there's a lot to discuss. I don't think I can, it will take large amount of time to cover all of those things. I would just want to know if they have any questions for what we have discussed before and anything on they want clarity about. I would just like to thank you all for staying with me till this time. And I would just like to, I just hope we all leave this room a little more informed and more empowered. Yes. Thank you, everyone. Please let me know if anybody has any questions.
Hello, ma'am. I am Adarsh Singh. I am audible.
Yes, hi, Adarsh.
Yes. My question is like nowadays the courts are going digital.
Right.
So this act is covering the courts or not? If yes, then whom we make the responsible for if the data is leaked or hacked?
See, like I said, it's at very nascent stage, and like I also said, there are a lot of government companies who are out of the purview at this point in time. So basically, what you can't tell, like, how is the data leaked? Like some kind of personal information has to be leaked. A. B. It is a government platform, so it's not easy to find out like what data was actually leaked. So the act is at very nascent stage, and we are basically targeting big companies at the moment, like big private companies. And you can say, like I also mentioned, IRCTC, they take your personal details. They ask for your location. They ask for your name. But when I say the courts are digital, they don't actually have any of your information as such. They have the information of the cases, the case details, which is supposed to be on a public platform. It is our right to know about the laws. That's how precedents come into being. Does it answer your question, Adarsh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, because in India the courts are open courts, so there is no problem, I think. But in
Yes.
some few matter like in camera proceedings and all,
Correct.
they will
Correct.
not going online.
Correct. When I say camera proceedings, I'm not sure if you have attended any of the camera proceedings. What they happen is, even if it's a digital court, when I say virtual hearing, they ask everybody to log out of the hearing, and there's only the judge present and the lawyers who are in the case.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if big company leak the data, like there is hacking, so the companies is responsible.
Yes, you can go. Like I said, there's an officer. You can go and tell them. You first have to go to the data fiduciary. If they don't they will if they don't act in a week's time, then you go to the officer. Now the officer it from there. Any more questions?
Yeah. Hello, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yeah, hi Devakar.
ma'am, there is a lots of chances to get a right to digital privacy under the fundamental right. From my point, ma'am, is there any chance to get it this?
Sorry, I did not understand. What are you asking?
Ma'am, from now times, there is a lot of chances to get a right to digital privacy under the fundamental rights. Is there any chance to get the fundamental right?
With the judgment now, right to privacy is a fundamental right.
Yes, ma'am. In that, we'll get a some specific right to digital privacy.
Yes, the act was formed within the larger umbrella of right to privacy. Are you following?
Yes, ma'am. I'm following, ma'am.
हाँ, what I'm trying to say is जो act ये बना है, ये right to privacy के umbrella में ही बना है.
Yeah, ma'am. Okay.
So there's a fundamental right. We said right to privacy is under fundamental right, and this data protection law was formed under the ambit of privacy law.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I understand.
Any more questions? Somebody say how to protect children from growing digital influence. Like I said, under this act, now the parents need to upload a government issued ID card. If they don't issue it, a child under 18 years of age cannot be on the platform. So if the parents want to not have the child on the platform, it is possible.
Ma'am, I have a question. Hello, ma'am.
Hello?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead, Dinesh.
As like other continents like Europe and all, they are following CAPP, Europe and the USA like that. But
Dinesh, actually, your voice is not clear. If you want, you can write your messages you can write your question in the messages. I will reply to it.
Is it audible?
Somebody asked me what is the role of incognito. Incognito basically is your data will not be stored anywhere.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if AI leaks someone personal data in future, then who will be responsible for it, ma'am? Like we have a IT Act, DPDP Act. So, ma'am, these acts are enough, or do we need a separate law for AI?
For AI. When you say AI, what do you mean by AI? Like generative AI is huge.
Yes, ma'am.
Like what do you want to target actually?
Like, ma'am, for example, there is a ma'am ChatGPT and Gemini, ma'am, all of these.
So you mean if they leak your data?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure if the CEO of Sam Anders just came up with a statement yesterday, like anything you upload in ChatGPT, it can be used against you in future.
Okay, ma'am.
So he's pretty clear of how the data will go from there. So anything you ask there, leave there, say there, it's not private.
Yes, ma'am.
So when I say data privacy, if the company comes up and say your data is not private, then your data is not private. Then you don't have the right here.
Okay, ma'am.
Like when you say WhatsApp, and if WhatsApp leaks your data, which is Meta, WhatsApp claims your messages are encrypted. But
Okay.
if they leak your data, then you can sue them. I'm sure in the past, everyone would remember a time when the government of India asked WhatsApp that they should not encrypt the data of few people. When I say encrypt, the messages are coded. Like
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have to put in a privacy data privacy
Yeah.
key to actually read the messages. So WhatsApp said no, nothing doing like that.
Yes, ma'am.
So there your data was protected.
Okay.
And even they did not provide the data to the government also.
Okay, ma'am.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
This is Yuvraj Kumar. I'm a law student from Bundelkhand University. I'm a fourth year law student. And ma'am, I want to know, I'm not go through about that Data Protection Act right now at my college. But ma'am, I have a question to related that data. Ma'am, I have read recently some article on which how AI is interfering in our legal system because many people use ChatGPT and many other app to do some drafting or some legal
Research.
things. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is how AI affects our legal system. Could you please tell some points on that?
Right. So basically, you're saying what is the effect of AI on the legal law in India? See,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, everything is at very nascent stage. ChatGPT is also not that old. Nothing in India has come about, but there were few cases abroad, I think in the US or somewhere, where a person sued a lawyer for giving them wrong advice. So that is why I said when the CEO of ChatGPT and Sam Analyst comes and he says whenever you do research, it hallucinates. You have to check it for yourself. No case has happened in India, but there were cases outside when litigants sued the lawyers and they got proper I'm not sure if the case was settled later or what happened with those cases.
Yes.
But they could sue the lawyers. The CEO said the research basically it hallucinates. Now if you see, like it happened earlier, now if you see ChatGPT, they've come up with more tools. It's a deep research. So
Yes,
the
ma'am.
CEO come and said if you do deep research, that is a proper research.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm not talking about only about ChatGPT, ma'am. There are more and more AI apps also which gives our subscription to deep search or do more things in that. And you put all these things and fact about the cases, they will draft you whatever you want in your legal field.
See, when you say there are a lot of apps, correct, there are a lot of apps.
Yes, ma'am.
There's Gamma. You use that application to prepare presentations. Basically, we are just talking, when I say ChatGPT, I only mean for research and drafting. I don't think we can use those apps for anything else at the moment. There are also apps which are used for case management. So what I'm trying to bring you at is everything is at very nascent stage. Nothing has happened actually. There have been just 2 cases in the newspapers. Now,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
happens and how it will be used, I don't think I will have an answer for you at the moment.
Okay, ma'am. No problem.
I can just
Okay.
tell you what has happened in the past
Yes, ma'am.
and
Okay.
how and what has happened, and because of which these apps came up with a new tool which says we can do a better research. Don't do
Yes,
a
ma'am. Yes,
mistake.
that's my point. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So basically, if this from a business point, they've actually made their product better.
Yes, ma'am. This is the
So
one.
nothing actually has happened in the legal field. There are no judgments at the moment. There's nothing. Everything is very new. Like you are witnessing, I'm also witnessing.
Yes, ma'am. But ma'am, in some cases I read some a week ago, in which court say that the law students or the advocate should not use AI in their drafting or whatever they are doing in legal fields. So it's affect our legal system. I think so.
It will affect because see, when we say it affects the legal system, is basically when I went on the profession, my only job was to do research and drafting.
Yes.
I never went ahead and argued the matters. So when these platforms comes into picture, what will a junior advocate do then? But it is for time. Like, let's see what happens with it. Because like I said, like if few things are gone, now there's data protection officers. There are 1,000 new things that also we can do. So I don't know what will happen actually. But
Yeah.
yes, we'll have to figure out like what happens. Like, I don't know, like junior advocates will find it a little difficult. I don't know how the profession will grow.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. This is Advocate Mukesh Gupta from
Hi,
Bombay. Ma'am, I would like to ask about the establishment of boards. Like, if somebody is having a grievance under the DPDP Act,
Hmm.
so where should we can approach to the
We don't.
board?
The government has not notified the board as yet, like where it will be, but the act provides for a provision like that. But we do have DPOs at the moment.
No, but then in this DPDP Act, is there any penal provisions
Yes.
as like a IT Act?
Yes, like I said, they can put penalties up to 4% of their turnovers, 250 crores. These are all numbers from the acts.
So means that the board is yet to establish in all over.
The DPOs are there,
Okay, ma'am.
which
Okay.
the company basically appoints.
All right.
Yeah.
But then who will be the chairpersons of that boards and all? Like how we will ascertain that?
Government will notify them duly. Like the rules passed in June 2025.
Right.
They're standing in July 2025.
Right.
I think within a month or two, they will notify how the boards and who will be presiding the boards. So I think it will be in the news all over once they have it.
Means that it is in pipeline that that will be in future. It will be notified.
Yeah, like very soon, because in the rules they said they will have a board.
Right.
Very soon. But like the rules came into being in June, so
Right,
it will take a month or two to get there.
So will it be like on a central level or like all the states have a
From what I
different board?
understand, they will be at a state level first, and then there will be also a central body.
Okay. Got it, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, any more questions? No, the rules do not apply retrospectively, Akash. So should we end the session here if there are no questions?
Yes, ma'am. We can conclude now. So, thank you, ma'am, for delivering such a wonderful and insightful webinar. With this, we come to the conclusion of our webinar, Navigating the Digital Shields under Understanding Data Protection Laws in India and beyond. Now, I would like to invite our Chief Human Resource Officer, Mr. Paras Chup, sir, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir. And thank you so much, Yuvraj, for such a wonderful.
So actually, we can't hear you if you are trying to speak.
Hello, now I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. So it's my immense pleasure to be delivering the vote of thanks for today's webinar on the navigating the digital shield in data protection laws in India. I extend my deepest gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Sitambra Kagada ma'am, for sharing the rich expertise, clarity, and practical perspectives on the complex and ever-evolving world of data protection. Ma'am, your session was truly broadened, not perspective of all participants, but my perspective as well. It broadened our understanding of not only the legal frameworks within the India, but also the international dimensions of the digital privacy and security. A big thank you to you, Mr. Yuvraj Sachdeva, our dynamic host, for steering today's session so smoothly and engagingly. I also wish to express heartfelt appreciation to all our participants. Your active involvement and thoughtful questions make this session more interactive and insightful. Now, in the last to my dedicated team behind the scenes at Legal Vidya, thank you for your flawless coordination and hard work that made this webinar a success. I would like to thank Nitesh Pradap to managing this event. As we move forward in this digital age, let us carry the insights from today's session and work collectively towards building a more secure, legally aware, and responsible digital ecosystem. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking such a wonderful session to talking about the digital protection laws. Happy learning.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a nice day.
Also, I would like to request you to please fill out the feedback forms because if you did not fill the feedback form, we will not be getting the certificate, and the certificates will be provided within a week by the next Tuesday. And thank you so much, ma'am, for such a wonderful session. Yeah.